Alright, welcome. So it has been requested to do an updated build video for Hebo, also known as Habwa, better known as the man with 4 ultimates. But first I'm going to go into his abilities and how they matter into actually building Hebo. Nothing too much matters, but I do want to make a few points here. Now, starting with this passive, you use your abilities and you can have up to 3 stacks of this, and each stack is 5% magical power buff. That's a lot. With that being percentage based, you're looking to build as much magical power items as you can to get the highest number, so that way your passive can get or just be a lot more use of. Now the duration is only 5 seconds, so you're looking to kind of stack that up, and to stack up your passive you're going to need to obviously use your abilities more. So you could look for cooldown reduction items, but most notably just looking for mana. Now, his cooldowns across the board are relatively low already, so it is okay if you don't want to build cooldown reduction items. However, if you build at least like 20 or 30% cooldown reduction, you're looking to just spam out your abilities, and you can easily keep your passive rolling. And at 30%, you're able to spam your Alice of the Yellow River, the water carpet, also known as, every 7 seconds, which it also lasts for 7 seconds. You can just spam this ability all the time. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover for his abilities. Now let's go to actually building Hebo. Actually, I do have Bancrofts here. Maybe wondering why I have Bancrofts. I just kind of wanted to show you how much of your magical power from your items kind of goes into your abilities as well. Since I have 100, you can see 80%, 85%, and 115%. That also proves that magical power is a huge part of Hebo. Now let's go ahead and sell that, because you don't really need lifesteal on most mages. So starting with Conquest, you definitely want to go with the starter item called the Vamp Shroud. Now, yes, as of this recording, the Soulstone has been recently buffed. So if you're picking up Soulstone, you're looking to be just a lot more aggressive. You commonly pick this up with the Purple Pot that gives you more magical power. And with that much magical power in your passive, you can really be super aggressive early on. However, the drawback with Soulstone is you don't have the 100 health that Vamp Shroud does, and Vamp Shroud allows you to more easily just sustain yourself with the passive of Vamp Shroud, giving you health and mana from hitting enemies, most notably the minions. So let's just go to the Vamp Shroud for now. I'm going to go through multiple builds, English. So I'm going to kind of go through this kind of fast. So starting with the boot. Now, if you're going to go with the cooldown reduction start, typically you go into the Lost Artifact, the tier 1 item. This allows you for MP5, magic power, or whatever. Then you go into your boots, which you probably want to go with the Magi's, the Shoes of Magi boots. And then you go back from your Lost Artifact and just kind of build this up into the Cronus Pendant. And this would be kind of your cooldown reduction start. Now, yes, you can build this Lost Artifact into the Duomorb. However, you're already kind of a target being Hebo, since you have no escapes except your Carpet and your ultimates. So if you pick up Duomorb, you're going to be even more of a target and more gankable, and they're just going to focus you down. And if you start dying, you lose half your stacks each time with the Duomorb. So that's how the cooldown reduction would start. However, if you are, let's say, wanted to go into cooldown reduction and you're in the solo lane and you're fighting as a physical guy, which most likely you are, you go into the Magi boots and then you just go into the Breastplate of Valor, giving you really high physical protection. It's relatively cheap, and it gives you the mana that you need and the cooldown reduction. That's how that will start out. But however, if you just want to go a pure burst mage Hebo, you just go into your boots, the pen boots, and then you go into the Book of Thoth, looking for, again, the high mana. And Book of Thoth also allows you to really build up your magic power by a ton. After this, you will go into the Warlock Sash. Now, stacking items are really popular with Hebo because there's no time where you're just not farming, and he works really well with both high mana, and the Warlock Sash gives you the health to just better sustain yourself, because you are kind of out there, you have no escape, and when you're using your ultimate, you're probably going to get hit a few times, and that with the health, that kind of helps balance that out, if that kind of makes sense. So let's just go into those 2 items. After this, you definitely need a penetration item if you're looking to do damage, and the best one right now is Obsidian Shard. As you can see, it's a lot cheaper than any of the other penetration items, and it's percentage based and has a lot of magic power. Now, with the percentage base, what works best with that is going against tanky targets if they're building, any type of magical protection. And as well as the game goes on, gods level up, and majority of the gods have magical protection scaling naturally. So it's also useful there, and most notably, it's great against pushing objectives like towers, phoenixes, fire giants, gold furies, things like that. If you much prefer the flat pen, where nobody in the enemy team is building any magical protections, then you're probably looking to Spear Magus. It's going to be kind of tough to stack up 3 stacks on one target. Could be tough. Or maybe the Dynasty Plate Helmet, because it's super cheap and it gives you a lot of good stats early on, and then you just sell this late game for like another pin item. But more than likely, you just go into the Obsidian Shard. After this, we're looking for even more magical power, and the best bet to kind of finish this off, and it's probably kind of late in the game, the Rod Hoodie allows you to spike up your magical power by a lot. And then your starter item, whatever starter item you went with, you can sell it mid to late game whenever you don't want it, or you're going to have it, you just sell it just to help finish an item off. And then you could probably just go to something like Soul Reaver, looking for tons of burst damage, and the Soul Reaver also gives you a lot more mana, which pairs really well with the Block of Thoth because it just builds on mana. Now, obviously, I don't have any stacks here. I have 697 magical power. Do a little bit more damage, or just do some damage on the Odin bot. You can see just some damage numbers. Of course, this bot is level 1 and probably has no items, so it's not the best representation, but you can only imagine how much 700 magical power with no stacks Hebo is hitting you in the face constantly. Now, at this full build, and after you get your full build, I probably recommend selling the Shoes of Magi boots and going for the cooldown reduction boots. The 10 pin late game is going to mean pretty much nothing, and I feel like you get a lot more usage out of the 10% cooldown reduction with the Shoes of Focus, and this also gives you more mana to build off of your Block of Thoth, and you kind of balance out the magical power, and I feel like that would be a little bit more favorable for the late game. Now, let's say, just kind of backtrack a bit. If you're looking for like a cooldown reduction build, let's just see how that will look like. I wish I could sell this a lot faster. So, cooldown reduction. You go into the Vampiric Shroud. Again, the same thing. You can just go into Lost Artifact, then your boots, and then go into the Chronos Pendant. That's would be like for the mid lane. Let's say if you're solo lane and you want cooldown reduction in the solo lane, you're fighting against another physical god, then it'd be the Shoes of Magi into the Breastplate. Those will be the starts. However, let's kind of move on from here. The thing is, if you go a cooldown reduction item, that kind of takes up one item slot, so you kind of pressures you to not pick up both of these stacked items. Instead, you probably just go into one, and you can make up that decision on your own. Both are fine. Just go to Book of Thoth, and then you go to your penetration, and then you go into the last final items like I talked about previously, buy the hoodie, and sell this for... And it'll look something like this for a cooldown reduction, and then sell this for the Shoes of Focus. This is the 30% cooldown reduction I was talking about earlier. You can see the Water Carpet is only 7-second cooldown, and it lasts for 7 seconds, and you can just spam this over and over, and you're forever fast, and nobody can really chase you down if they're melee. Now, that's pretty much it. Let's wrap it up with a quick arena build. Let's see how arena will look like. Now, stacking an arena is going to be a little bit more difficult. Definitely depends on who is with you, but let's just go with the Shoes of Magi. And for a cooldown reduction, again, you just go into either the Chronos Pendant or Breastplate of Valor. But let's just go into none of those, looking for just your stacking items, and your typical build would just be Book Thoth and the same exact item. So with this video, I pretty much covered all the builds that I wanted to talk about, really. So, and hopefully this was helpful and giving a decent idea on what to build for Hebo and what certain situations. Just keep in mind that the cooldown reduction cap is 40%, so there's no real need to overcap that at all. So yeah, you're just looking for a lot of magical power, and some cooldown reduction is all up to you. So hopefully it was helpful again, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.